The Texas Rangers are one win away from the first ever World Series after a blowout victory that looked a lot closer than it needed to be at the end. We're going to break down all that and more on this episode of Locked On Rangers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked onto the Texas Rangers. I'm Bryce Patrick, a cripplingly addicted Texas Rangers fan covering this team for 10 seasons, including all 5 as the founder and host of Locked On Rangers. Thank y'all so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. If you're not already, you can follow me on Twitter at Bryce Patrick. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Hit subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and on YouTube, where the best way you can help grow the show is to comment nearly any single thing below. Rangers win Game 4, 11-7 after getting some horrifying, terrifying, the worst news anyone has maybe ever gotten about any single thing ever in the history of humanity. The Rangers had to place Max Scherzer and Adolis Garcia on the IL, both of them done for the season, done for the World Series. El Bombi, the ALCS MVP, Max Scherzer, the 3-time Cy Young winner, the 1-time World Series winner, might get his second World Series, but he's only going to have participated in 3 innings of this World Series. And El Bombi, the man, the myth, the legend, the walk-off home run Game 1 hitter, an exceptional Game 1 where he reached base 4 times. And one bad swing in Arizona is all it took to end the season of the mythic Adolis Garcia. What an absolutely incredible bummer. But hey, next man up. That has been the mentality of this team for the entirety of the season, no matter how many All-Stars they've lost, no matter how many Cy Youngs they have on their IL. Right now, the total currently sits at 5 Cy Young awards on the Rangers IL. But hey, it doesn't matter. The Rangers have 3 chances to finish it off, to win their first ever World Series, and they've got their 2 best pitchers on the mound in the next 2 games to do it. They could finish it out on the road in Arizona, where they are now 10-0. 10-0 on the road to start the postseason. Absolutely sensational. Maybe it's the hot dogs. Maybe it's the long road trips. Maybe it's the losing the division on the final day of the season. You may have heard about that. You may have listened to the Fox broadcast and heard them mention it 800,000 times the last, I don't know, all of the games that it has been on. Well, really any broadcast from this postseason. That's their talking point for the Rangers. Don't worry about whatever else they did. They lost the division on the last day, and that's all you need to know about the Texas Rangers in the regular season. Also, something else you need to know, that this team can freaking mash, no matter who's in the lineup, whether it's Travis Jankowski, whether it's Leody Taveras, whether it's Josh Smith, it doesn't matter. These guys just hit, and they do not stop at all, ever, until you are deader than dead, or until it's 11-1, then they kind of chill out a little bit, or 10-0. And then they kind of chill out just a little bit. But hey, it ended up being enough. The ending was incredibly frustrating, but the beginning, oh boy, was it a spicy beginning and a rather unsurreptitious beginning. And the Rangers get their first run on a Josh Young scoring on a wild pitch. A great at bat by Leody Taveras, where he works for a walk. Then Travis Jankowski gets a hit, and then Marcus Semien steps it up, turns it on in the big moment, a 2-run triple right ahead of a Corey freaking Seager home run. Why wouldn't it be Corey freaking Seager adding on a 5-run inning in the top of the second against that stupid bullpen game? The one thing that gave the Rangers fits this whole season was bullpen games, and everyone thought, oh no, oh boy, this unbeatable Diamondbacks bullpen that's full of the greatest pitchers that history has ever seen. They're definitely going to shut down this historic Rangers off. Oh, nope. There's 5 pitchers in the board, and oh god, oh no, oh wow, this got ugly quick. Yeah, that's kind of what it turned into for the Rangers. Because the reason bullpen games work, they only work in the regular season, really, unless you've got a spectacular bullpen, unless you've got, the Tampa Bay Rays of bullpens. And while it is true that this Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen has done very, very well in the playoffs, it is not full of Mariano Rivera's. It is not full of Jose Leclercs. It is not full of the greatest there's no Felix Bautista in here. There's not a guy like that. I mean, Paul Sewald's pretty darn good. But outside of that, the rest of the guys are kind of gettable. And the more looks you get at a bullpen, at a particular bullpen arm, and the Rangers got to see a lot of them because there were a lot of pitchers thrown by both sides in this one, not necessarily the best ones. But the more times you see a pitcher, any pitcher, but especially the kind of relievers that the Diamondbacks have, while they have been effective, they are more effective the less often you see them, which can be said about pretty much all relief pitchers, which again is why I'm so upset that Jose Leclerc had to be the one to come in and finish this one off, outside of just having him throw more pitches, which he shouldn't have to do. But I digress. The more you see these guys, it is not like they are throwing elite primo gas with just the nastiest breaking stuff you've ever seen. It's more of a funky bullpen, more of a, that's weird. That didn't come out where I thought it was going to be. I didn't think he could throw it from that angle. Oh, that's weird. That kind of jumps on you real quick. And then once you see him more often and more often and more often, then you see, okay, this guy is coming out and the ball is being released right here. Oh, that's what this guy's sinker looks like. Oh, that's what this guy's slider looks like. Oh, okay, I can hit that. I know how to hit that. All right. No worries. No worries. I'll just go and jump on this team. And that's exactly what this Rangers offense did. Putting up a 5 spot in the second inning, then putting up a 5 spot in the third inning. It was 10-0 at the end of 3 innings. And what did this Rangers bullpen do? They went to work, a munchin' and a munchin' and a munchin' in the innings. Andrew Heaney, 5 innings of 1-run ball, gets credited with the win. 4 hits, 1 run that was earned, a couple of walks. Didn't love those, but that's fine. Just 3 strikeouts. That's all he needed. And then in comes Dane Dunning. You think, okay, Dane Dunning. It's a 10-1 game at this point. Dane Dunning is just going to run with it. He's just going to take this thing over the finish line. And for some reason, he only throws 1 inning. And I thought, okay, well, that's kind of weird. Okay, in comes Cody Bradford. Cody Bradford looking great in his pregame Halloween costume. The Rangers tweeted out of him wearing the mystery machine from Scooby-Doo. Just absolutely sensational costume. And I said 3 perfect innings incoming from Cody Bradford tonight. There's no way that he doesn't throw an absolute gem. There's no way he's getting hit while dressed up like the mystery machine today. Well, he only threw 1 inning. It was perfect. He could have gone more. But hey, you wanted to get Brock Burke in because Brock Burke hasn't pitched in a while. It's a blowout game. You think, okay, it's the 8th inning. It'll be fine. And Brock Burke faces 4 hitters, gives up 3 hits, just gets 1 out. Think, okay, well, it's Chris Stratton time. And in comes Chris Stratton, gives up a garbage time and 3-run homer. Okay, good for them. Way to go. Yuli Gurriel, have your moment in your purple, pink, blue, whatever hair. Cool. And Chris Stratton gets 2 outs. And then for some reason, a pinch hitting decision decides to factor into this game, even though it was, I believe, a 6-run game still at that point. And they thought, oh no, this guy pinch hitting in the 8th, Pavin Smith pinch hitting for Emmanuel Rivera. That means we've got to counter that. We got to counter it. There's no way that Chris Stratton can face a singular bench lefty bat from the Diamondbacks in a 6-run game. There's no way. We got to bring on Will Smith. And then the second counter, as Torey Lovullo has shown often to do in this game, with double pinch hitting, just completely burning a guy just to get a lefty-righty matchup late in the game. Jordan Lawler comes on, and he gets a hit, or a walk, excuse me. Even more inexcusable. It's a walk. It's a guy who is a first-round pick a couple of years ago, just jumped through the system, but had an absolutely awful regular season, has gotten 1 postseason at bat. I think he's going to be a very good player for a long time, probably a star, but right now, he's not very good. And Will Smith comes on and he walks him and he gives up a hit. And he does get a couple of strikeouts, but he can't finish this game off. And in comes Jose freaking Leclerc to have to close this game out, which is just absolutely mind-numbing stuff that you had to throw him on back-to-back days. And oh, by the way, you've got a game tomorrow and you are 1 win away from winning a World Series, and you would like to not have had to use any of your A-tier bullpen guys in a game you were leading 11-1 as late as through 7 innings, 11-1. You couldn't get it from the rest of these guys. You had to bring in Jose Leclerc. I really don't understand, but we're going to talk about in just a second the offense waking up, the offense stepping up to pick up their injured friend Adolis Garcia, and how this team seems to be unkillable despite the bullpen's best efforts to kill it very, very often. Right after this word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there is no better time to get in on the action. It is the sports equinox. All of the four major sports are going right now, and the Rangers and all the DFW teams are doing pretty well. If you want to bet on the Dallas Cowboys to keep doing well, if you want to bet on Luka Doncic to be the NBA MVP, win his first ever MVP, I believe FanDuel, as of today, has him tied for the favorite to be the NBA League MVP, along with Nikola Jokic. You can also bet on the Stars to keep kicking butt like they have been doing this season, or you can bet on the Rangers to win it all, or maybe they've even got some odds up for next year, because maybe the Rangers win this thing and then they go back to back. So visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn, kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Shout out to the everydayers making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. On tomorrow's show, I'll be live on YouTube right after Game 5, where the Rangers have a chance to close it out and maybe win their first ever World Series. We'll see what happens. Either way, I will be live. You can catch every pitch on SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search Rangers. Now, this Rangers offense did what it did best and just kicked the absolute snot out of some inferior pitchers. Joe Mantiply, it's not that great a pitcher. Miguel Castro, not that great a pitcher. Kyle Nelson, Frias, Ryan Nelson, Saul Frank, or Ryan Nelson actually probably should have started this game. And it kind of shows you the importance of having an actual starting pitcher, an actual number 4 in your rotation, as opposed to 3.5 starting pitchers, which it seems like that's what the Rangers have. But the Rangers just got to basically everybody in this game outside of Nelson. Even Nelson was got by, of course, a Heim time World Series homer, his 3rd homer of the postseason. The Rangers got 3 home runs in this one from Corey Seager, his 6th of the postseason, and 1 from Marcus freaking Semien. Didn't I tell y'all Marcus Semien was going to have a moment in these playoffs? Didn't I tell y'all it was coming? It was about time. This is a man who was built for these moments, built for these big moments. And until now, outside of a lot of really great defensive plays, there hadn't been a whole lot coming from Marcus Semien. And after every series, I kept saying, this is Marcus's time. This is it. He's going to do it. This is Marcus's time. Eventually, he's going to break out of this. Come on, Marcus, please. And at this point, it was like, dear Marcus, just do something. Please, something. And by God, did he listen. He did something. He did several somethings, a 2-run triple and a 3-run homer to put this game basically on ice. And it is time. It is past time for Marcus Semien to finally make those adjustments, to take advantage of some not great pitchers. I mean, this was not the elite bullpen. I mean, for most of this season, this Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen had a lot of holes and flaws in it. I just don't understand why everyone thought, oh, well, because it worked once in a bullpen game against the Phillies, that means it's fine. That means this Rangers offense is maybe not even as good as the Phillies offense. I don't know. But meanwhile, this Rangers team has more 5+ run innings in this entire postseason. I think more than double at this point. I think it's the Rangers have 5+ run innings in the playoffs. I think the Diamondbacks have 2. I think the Phillies had 1. And everybody else had a whopping 0. This is what this offense does. It's what it does best. You blink. You breathe wrong. You don't even blink. You can't even blink. And this team drops 5 runs on you in a second. Like, it just takes like nothing. Like absolutely nothing. I mean, started off with one bad decision to leave Joe Mantiply in because he wanted to face some extra lefties. But you leave him in against Josh Young, who is the lefty annihilator. I thought, there's no way. There's no way they're making this decision. But turns out they were. They were making that decision of, let's get 2 innings from Joe Mantiply. You sure about that? You sure about that, Torey Lovello? You really don't want to go back and rethink that decision? But hey, Josh Young made him pay. Hit a leadoff double, hit the absolute crap out of it into the gap, and started with a leadoff double on second base. Then up comes Nathaniel Lowe, and credits Joe Mantiply. He made some great pitches. He threw 3 really great curveballs, and Nathaniel Lowe just looked absolutely lost. He's had some really good at-bats lately, but that one from Lowe, when you just really need to have any kind of productive at-bat at all, because the Rangers went 1, 2, 3 pretty quickly in that first inning, and you needed something. Just get Josh Young over to third base with less than 2 outs, and then Jonah Heim, if he puts one into the outfield or just anywhere deep, then Josh Young scores and you have a 1-0 lead. But he couldn't do that. Strikeout. Up comes Jonah Heim, has a decently productive at bat and gets Josh Young over to third base. And then Leody Taveras at the plate, who had been struggling quite a bit in this World Series. I still don't know that he has a hit. No. Yeah, he does not have a hit yet in this World Series, hitting 189 for the playoffs. But hey, he has gotten some walks. He's gotten some big walks, including that one in that bat, a wild pitch by, I believe that was Castro at that point, who was just very erratic in this game. Very erratic. Comes in, throws a wild pitch. Josh Young makes a great read on it. I mean, all the talk about how great a base running team this Diamondbacks team is, and they are. They're very good. They're good at taking extra bases. They're good at being mostly pretty smart outside of that Christian Walker running through a stop sign the game before. But they are aggressive, they are fast, and they know their strengths. They know when to pick their spots. But this Rangers team is really done good to the bases too. These are 2 very complete teams. They're 2 teams that have pretty good top-end starting pitching. They got enough guys who are working well in the back of their bullpen to make it pretty far. They got a pretty darn deep offense. They play really good defense, and they're very good on the bases. Both these teams do most everything well. But right now, the Rangers are just doing the everything well, just a little bit everything weller than these Diamondbacks are. And they take advantage. And then here comes the length of this lineup. Leody Taveras works his walk. Travis Jankowski comes up, and he gets a single. And then Marcus Semien drills that triple. And then comes Corey Seager. Just add on when you're still reeling. And here he comes with that 2-run homer. He now has 19 home runs in the postseason for his career, the second most among shortstops in Major League Baseball history. The only one with more is some guy named Derek Jeter. I don't know who that is. I've never heard of him. It must be some scrub. Must have played for some scrub franchise. I've never heard of him. But anyway, Corey Seager just 1 home run behind Derek Jeter for the most home runs among shortstops in postseason history. He also has as many home runs in World Series history as Mr. October Reggie Jackson. And he is well on his way to his second World Series MVP, which he would be the second position player to ever win multiple World Series MVPs, along with, you guessed it, Mr. October, Reggie freaking Jackson. Corey Seager adds on with a double late in this one. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't end up scoring, but hey, that's just what he does, is just keep on getting big hits in big moments. And again, literally the entire depth of this lineup of just everybody working quality at bat after quality at bat after quality at bat, even when guys are cold. I mean, your number 3 and 4 hitters in this game, Mitch Garver and Evan Carter, went a combined 0 for 8 with 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, and 1 very rude hit by pitch. Absolutely unnecessary hit by pitch that might have actually just hit the knob of the bat. It was a really scary moment in the 9th inning, an absolute garbage time that it looked like Evan Carter might have gotten hit on the hand, which would be absolutely devastating. But hey, the Rangers just called some random person up and they would end up hitting like Barry Bonds or just having a 2 for 4 day with a couple RBIs like Travis Jankowski did, including a 2-run double. That's right, Travis Jankowski, a 2-run double in the World Series. Which one of you would have had that at the beginning of this year? Well, let's see. Which one of you would have had that in August when this team was scuffling and Travis Jankowski was playing quite bad? Not me. Definitely not me. But hey, again, that is what this team has done. It is not surprising that they picked themselves up after Adolis Garcia was out. Yeah, it's a huge loss. It's a massive loss. There's been no one hotter for the entirety of these playoffs than Adolis Garcia. No one hitting home run after home run after home run in mammoth style, in epic style, in joyous, glorious, triumphant style as Adolis Garcia. And the Rangers miss him, and they're going to miss him for however many more games there are this season, whether there's 1, whether there's 2, whether there's 3, whether they win it or whether they don't, they're going to miss him. But they're not going to sit around and sulk. They're not going to sit around and sulk about missing him or Max Scherzer or Jacob deGrom or whoever else might get hurt. Hopefully nobody, because the Rangers have sustained enough injuries for a freaking lifetime, let alone a freaking season. It's enough. We get the point. Whatever baseball gods are mad at them, can you just like settle your grudge for a week? 4 days, actually. Just 4 days. Just chill out, man. Whatever baseball deity you are that is angry at this Rangers team, suffering them with the worst injury luck at the worst freaking times. But it does not matter the adversity that they suffer. It does not matter the amount of people that are watching or commentating or whatever John Smoltz has to freaking say at any single moment in time. This Rangers team is 1 win away from their first ever World Series. And my God, they are so ready to just get it done tomorrow or the next day or the day after that, or whenever the heck there are actually games coming up. We'll look at a little bit of the implications of this bullpen, not going a little bit deeper in this game, and what the Rangers are going to have to do to win their first ever championship. Right after this word from our sponsors. Shout out to the everydayers making Locked On Rangers your first visit every single day. On Thursday's show, yes, today's Tuesday, tomorrow's Wednesday, Thursday. Forgive me, I am losing all of my days and my mind as these Rangers go on to this World Series run. I'll be doing a bit of a mailbag Q&A and maybe even talking with Grant Schiller. Who knows what's happening, but be sure to tune in. It'll be some good stuff. Either way, the Rangers take on the Diamondbacks in the World Series. You can catch every pitch with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search Rangers. Now, this game could not have gone much better to script. At the beginning of the game, I was feeling greedy and saying, all right, here's my ideal game plan. First off, the Rangers just blow them out. Just absolutely annihilate this bullpen. It is not as good as it's been chalked up to be. It is a bunch of guys who are playing over their heads, and it is time for the Rangers to hit them back into the ground. Step 1, 2-3 innings. Checkity check, check, check. This is about as good as you can do of making it a blowout. Step number 2, Andrew Heaney. Give me 4 or 5 innings. Give me 4 or 5 innings of quality work. 5 innings, 1 run, be perfect. Step 2, check a Rooney. Step 3, save your bullpen. Don't throw any of your A-tier guys. You already threw all of them in game 3, which was necessary. I mean, you got there by 3 innings of Scherzer and 3 innings of Gray. And then the final 3 innings were your typical 7, 8, and 9 guys. And they did their job, and you got the win. It was great. Now, you play 3 games in 3 days. You cannot use Aroldis Chapman in back-to-back days. And you really wouldn't like to throw any of your guys, your high-leverage guys, in 3 games. You were hoping to take care of business tomorrow and finish it off with your ace, Nate Eovaldi, on the hill coming off of his worst ever game. And for the most part, they did that. They avoided their guys until that stupid 9th inning where Jose Leclerc was already throwing, and it makes no sense. Why did Dane Dunning go 1 inning? Why did Cody Bradford go 1 inning? I mean, you could have gotten 2 innings out of both of those guys, and that would have been the game. You wouldn't have had to throw Brock Burke, who it seems like Bochy's mistrusting him all year is because he's just fallen apart. Whatever magic he was feeling last year, which was amazing. He was honestly an incredible reliever last year. A sub-2 ERA, a guy who went multiple innings all the time, was very good. Rangers didn't have a whole lot of high leverage situations to throw him in because they were so bad. But hey, he was really, really good for you. And Chris Stratton, early on in his Rangers tenure, was solid. But the Rangers ran him into the freaking ground, and it looks like he is either exhausted or just was never actually that good. And he was not able to get out of his inning unscathed and gives up a 3-run homer to Yuli Gurriel, gets them either further into it, and apparently can't match up with Pavin Smith in the 9th inning. That was just too much for Chris Stratton. I don't understand. So you got to bring on Will Smith, and Smith gets into trouble too, and gets you to have to force to throw Jose Leclerc. He throws 10 pitches in this one. It does give up a couple of runs, though they're not his runs. They're Will Smith's runs, because Will Smith was putting runners on that he did not need to put on in a game that should have been closed out ages ago, but took approximately 72 hours. Approximately 72 hours. Oh, no, excuse me. 3 hours and 18 minutes, which felt like a lifetime, which God bless the pitch clock, because otherwise this would have gotten ugly even faster. It would have been even longer. It would have been 11 o'clock as it is right now, and the Rangers would still be playing in like the 7th inning or something. But this is the thing that just kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth. It's the kind of thing that kind of lingers in your mind of like, okay, you really didn't need to soil this game. You really didn't need to do that. There was absolutely no necessity for you to throw Jose Leclerc. You could have put Martin Perez in there. It could have been ended up a 3-run win. It does not matter. You just need to get the win, get the final outs. That's what freaking matters. What matters more is who you throw. And you were able to avoid Aroldis Chapman in this game. You were able to avoid Josh Sports in this game. But having to throw Jose Leclerc and giving them another look at him it just rubs me just the wrong way. Just the wrong way. It's like almost perfect, a near perfect game plan for a game that you needed, coming off of that horrible news. And of course, this team bounces back. I mean, neither of these teams, that's why I don't expect that Arizona's just going to roll over and die. Neither of these teams have rolled over and died in any situation that they've faced whatsoever this year. They have been so good about being resilient, about coming back, no matter how bad they get their teeth kicked in, whether it's a blowout loss, whether it's a gut punch, heart-wrenching loss to your most hated team in a game that you were so sure that you were going to win. Or like the Diamondbacks did in game 2 of this World Series, coming back after just the heart-wrenching loss that was game 1 of Corey Seager goes in and stabs your heart out, and then Adolis Garcia, stomps on it just for good measure with that walk-off home run. And they came back and they battered the Rangers in game 2 in their home place. And they come back to game 3, and that was an absolute heartbreaker. And they get stomped on in game 4 in their home place. They are one loss away from being eliminated in this World Series. And I do want to give credit to these Arizona Diamondbacks fans. They were loud. They were very loud the entire game. They were into it. They were never out of it. They did not leave in drones, unlike the Astros fans in game 7 when they were getting their butts walloped by the Rangers. And I honestly think that's a big reason why this team was able to come back and make it look a little bit closer. And don't let any single person on earth tell you that this wasn't a blowout. That, the Diamondbacks made it respectable. Who gives a crap? The Rangers beat them thoroughly, and through the underside of their bullpen, were able to get out of this, mostly without throwing any of their good relievers. Again, those stupid 10 pitches from Jose Leclerc are going to get in my craw and annoy me until this series is wrapped up, because it is not done. The Rangers know that it's not done. The Rangers know that the Diamondbacks are not done. They got Nate Eovaldi on the hill, and he's coming off a really rough outing. But I think that makes him extra motivated. Don't you? A guy who is one of the greatest postseason pitchers of his generation, coming off one of, if not his worst postseason start of his career. And the Raiders did end up winning that game. But I think that still pisses him off that he came out like that. I mean, he got pretty much walloped. And even in those 2 games against the Astros, where he pitched really well, even a game where he gave up, 3 runs in 6 innings, a game where the Rangers won and he had 9 strikeouts, he was pissed off. He's like, I was bad. I need to be much, much better. And I think he can be. I think him facing this team a second time through is going to make him that much better. He's going to have a more refined game plan. I think he's going to be much more, motivated. I mean, I think that he's not going to be as thrown off by all of the chaos on the base paths. I don't think he's going to let that get to him as much. One of the things that made Eovaldi so incredibly special in these playoffs is how good he was with runners in scoring position. And I think a little bit of what got to him was the Arizona Diamondbacks being so gosh darn aggressive on the base paths. They just really, really got in his head, it felt like. And that was not something that was an issue at all. It's like once runners were in scoring position, Nasty Nate got even nastier. And that was not the case in game 1. I see him going more back to being the old Nate, the old, I don't care if you got runners in scoring position. I don't care if you got a guy on third base with 0 outs. I'm going to strike all these guys out, get some weak ground outs. You're not going to score a single freaky ground on me. That is the mentality that he has in those situations. Oh, bases loaded. No, it's too bad for you. I'm going to strike you out. I'm going to get a double play and we're going to get out of it. And it is going to be like nothing freaking happened. And it is going to break your hearts. That is the Nate Eovaldi that is going in game 5, I'm thinking, with a chance to close out these Diamondbacks on the road and to win the first World Series in Texas Rangers history and possibly make us all big Creed people for the rest of our lives. I haven't quite thought about the implications of that. We'll get to that if the Rangers end up wrapping it up and winning a championship. I mean, if we all get like Creed tattoos and just go to every single Creed show, if that's our penance for the Rangers winning the World Series, so be it. I'll take it. This was about as good as the Rangers could win a game, set themselves up for a good position tomorrow to close it out, or in game 6, or God forbid if it goes to 7. The Rangers have 3 chances to win their first ever World Series. Just got to win one more game. And by golly, I think these Rangers are about to freaking do it. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank you all so much for listening and subscribing. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy World Series Texas Rangers baseball.